Okay. Welcome. Skip here again. This is the blueprint introduction and kind of get into the meat of things here a little bit. There's a system and there's elements in the system required to make it work. And it's the systems that so many people lack. And even if they know there's a system, how do they create the system and how do they link the different elements together to make it one system? The purpose of a system is to actually systematize a process that makes it a 24/7 marketing process. In network marketing, it's typical that you have to, contact people. You call them, you talk to them, you invite them to a meeting. There's several levels of interaction that you have. That's a system. It starts with perhaps a phone call or an email or a letter of some kind. And then it goes to a more involved phone call. It goes to an invitation to a meeting. The meeting goes into follow-up stages with people, keeping a list of the people you're working with, and ultimately a list of your customers. It's all of those things. Well, that's what you do in the natural, and it's a very slow and awkward, one at a time kind of process. What I'm talking about is something that can operate for you 24/7 around the clock. It doesn't rely on any one marketing source. And it can take people all the way through to the point where they're actually signed up and functional in the system, even if you never ever talk to them. And so, how do you set up a system that does that for you and runs on autopilot? And it works in such a way that in a given day, there can be a lot of people entering the system and doing, however many people at a time that are in the system processing. I mean, you might have one, you might have two, 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 50 people that are in a given day in the system and working. Whereas in one person in one day in the personal one-on-one method or approach to network marketing, you can handle maybe one or two people a day. You can get people into a meeting. It's a stretched out process to where you're going to have a meeting. You're going to have several visits with several people up to the point of that meeting and whatnot. And it can take literally weeks before you come to the point where you're really bringing in a number of people. Well, you can bring in one day what it might take you weeks to build in the conventional method. You can do it in one day online in a properly orchestrated system. So that's the difference, and that's the advantage. And again, and I mentioned this in the opener that you have to set the system up. So one, you're identifying target traffic, people who really already want what you have to offer. That's very important. The system does that for you. Something that is automated and can build residual income while you're sleeping. Now, there takes a little time, takes some effort to set up the system. But once you do, let's just look at this reasonably. Let's just say that it takes you, I don't know, what if it took as much as a year to set up a system that was going to take care of you for the rest of your life? Would it be worth it? Well, yeah. What if you could do it in 6 months? You would do it. What if in 2 or 3 months, in spare time, you could go step by step in building a system that was going to take care of you for the rest of your life? Is it possible? Absolutely. Now, here's the reality. Some people, depends on how comfortable you are with some of the online traffic and how accustomed you are to navigating some of those things. But getting used to that, there's people who do it in a matter of a couple of weeks. They're functional, they're up and running. Some people who know enough about it that they can, depending on where they're at with what they might be doing online, that in a day or two they can actually have a system that's basically functional. So there's a lot of variables here. Now, the majority of people are not going to do it in a matter of days, and probably not going to do it in a matter of weeks. But to think that you can do it in a month, or 2 or 3 months, whatever, depending on how dedicated you are and how serious you are about building a system that's going to take care of you for the rest of your life, again, is it worth it? Absolutely. And this is not about a get-rich-quick program. This is about doing one step at a time that puts in place a system that's going to work for you and make a difference and provide residual income that's literally a lifetime income. So the elements of the system, of the blueprint. First, you always have to start out being motivated to do it. You have to make that decision. That's a process. So you're motivated to do it. You're going to overcome the challenges. You're going to take on each step as it comes. Now you have to identify sources of traffic. Traffic can be had in a lot of ways, and a lot of people think that if you're going to build business online, that your traffic sources all have to be online. It's not 100% true. There are traffic sources that you can utilize in building an online business that are not necessarily all available online. There's offline sources as well. We'll get into that. You'll see how that works. So there's a lot of traffic sources that you can go to for multiple sources and mass online traffic appealing to people who want what you have. That's important. So you've got the traffic component, and we'll talk about that, and a little bit about how that breaks down. Again, this is a blueprint. This isn't going to be a detailed training on each step and how you accomplish it. This is a blueprint, but you need to know what the elements are. So we start with traffic. From traffic, you're going to go to a landing page, a capture page, a funnel, a lot of names for it. The landing page is a place where people are going to go in, they're going to see an offer, they're going to have some interest in it, and they're going to put their email and take advantage of the offer. Now, the offer part of this, you got the landing page itself, and then you got the offer, which is the fulfillment of whatever you promised on the landing page. It's an interesting thing that to be successful online is not about how well you sell, it's about what you have to give in terms of value. Understand that people get this concept of between price and value. They get kind of mixed up a little bit. Price is what it is, but is the price that it's established, does it represent the worth or value of the product you're representing? The reality is that the value is what should dictate the price, okay, in most cases. Well, in this, you're going to build a system, and I'll talk a lot more about this later, but you're going to build a system in which you're gaining trust, and you do that through what you give and not what you sell. I don't know about you, but I don't like the approach when somebody's in my face constantly sell, 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 sell. If they're giving value in what they're doing and you learn to trust them because there's a value offer in the midst where regardless of whether you spend a dime, you walk away with receiving value that's going to make a difference. Okay, so we talk about the landing page. That's going to take people into a place where they're going to receive something of value from you, and it's not going to cost them anything other than giving you some information so you can follow up with them. Okay, so those are two elements. You start with a landing page. That's going to connect to a value source that's going to give them something of value, and then it goes from there into a prospect list. Now, the prospect list is really important. There's a saying in online marketing that if you're really on top of things, you're not going to waste a visit. When people come and visit your site, there should be some way to follow up. Because on first impression, they may be paying attention or not. They'll look at it, they'll have an initial interest, and they'll click. But very few people will actually buy or be motivated to do something about what they're looking at unless they see it a couple times, maybe even 5, 6, 7 times that they've got to see it. There's a difference between making yourself available and making yourself into an absolute pest. So you need to know how to draw the line there. But you want to take advantage of people that visit your site for whatever the reason, because there might be people there that are interested, but at the time they first looked at it, they just didn't take the time to look at it very closely. So there's a place that they're called a prospect list that you gain that information that if they had enough interest to get that, to take advantage of a special offer, you now have a way to follow up with them. So there's that prospect list. There's also a customer list that once a person actually purchases and becomes engaged with you and they're doing business, that's something you really want to cultivate. They know it's like you know where the store is down the road, and if you know you get good values there, that's where you're going to shop. You go back to the place where you can trust and where you know that you're going to get a good value. And you might drive by several places where you could buy the same stuff, but you don't feel as confident in the values you're going to get in that exchange, right? So you have a customer list. Very important. And then ultimately you're going to have a place for your brand where you build branding. And branding is a place where it's about you, it's about what you have, it's about the support that you give, it's about resources that you provide for people on an ongoing basis. And you can do two things with your branding page. That's a place where you can use it just to give away information and establish your worth, your value in the process. So people will be willing to come to you. They'll look to you as a leader. They'll follow what you have to offer. That's a good thing. If you're doing well and you're successful, people are going to want to know how you did it, and you're going to be able to provide information to help them along the way. So that's part of branding, but you can also monetize that branding site. So now that people have trust in you and whatnot, if you have other things to offer, they're going to want to take advantage of what you have to offer because you were genuine in it. Okay, so these are the basic components of a blueprint for marketing online. There's going to be a lot more detail on this. And right now, I'm giving you an overview. I want you to see what's there, see what's available, and kind of understand the concept. So when at the end of the day, when you see the whole thing in its full context, everything and how it works together, it's a no-brainer. It works. It works. It works. It works. It's $1 million process that literally will change your life forever if you know how to use it. And again, it doesn't matter if you're looking for money, lifestyle, or whatever you're looking for. If you have something you want to achieve, you can do it within a system that works for you 24/7, and it doesn't have to be on a per transactional basis. Uh, there's so much stuff that's done online that requires interaction on a per transaction basis. This is different. This is multiple transactions 24/7 without your engagement. Doesn't mean you won't have something to do. You'll still do some marketing. There's things you're going to do in the process and assist people along the way. But overall, your primary marketing here is something that is done 24/7 while you're sleeping or whatever, and people have access to it. Does that make sense? So that's this section here, this video here. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, give you some idea of the overall, introduce you to the idea of the blueprint and where it's going to start, and the fact that there are these different stages. As you master each stage, you change your life. It's just that. It's literally life-changing. And by the way, when I talk about the special offer, that's going to be no problem. If you're thinking, what do I have to give people that's of value that I can give for free? Don't worry about that, because that'll be available. You'll see how that works. That's not difficult. So anyway, with that said, we can launch into the actual elements and talk a little bit about traffic in the next video. Thanks.